Jack Cullen with some color on the Beatles.
No, they didn't go as far as I go. Just what are the Beatles going to get out of this tonight in the way of money?
Well, they're going to get 60% of everything that comes in here, Jack.
Have we heard there's about 20,000 paid-up types coming here tonight?
I would think they will get 60% of 80,000, and I was very poor at figures in school, so somebody can work that out.
Yeah. The lights keep blowing out here. This is probably because we have, I can see to my eye, something like 20 microphones. Every television camera is pretty well represented out here tonight, and it's a good crowd, and I noticed even a few teenage girls managed to get in. Do you know who they rep?
No, but if they're not doing anything after this press conference, they should be interesting to talk to.
Yes, there must be all of 50 of us in the room, and in front of us we have 4 microphones, one for each one of the Beatles. They have a lovely posh Chesterfield, and they're on a little elevated stage. But we'll check in a little later on. They've not arrived in the press conference room yet, but when they do, you'll hear it all live here on NW at the press conference. And with me, by the way, is a representative, and I think he said of the Tampa Tribune. Is that correct?
Tampa Tribune.
And
yes.
Again, your name is?
Fred Paul.
And Fred, you are traveling with the group, are you?
Yes, I am.
And why are you traveling with the group?
Well, it actually was a project of my own, as I explained to Mr. Simpson downtown. I decided on this about 5 days ago, and I'm not in the plane with them. I've had to take commercial aircraft all the way through, and I'm not employed by the Tampa Tribune as a regular staff reporter. I'm doing this as a complete freelance operation, my tour with the Beatles. So far, I can only describe it as exciting, wonderful. It's been the biggest thing of my life.
What has been the wildest scene that you've seen between Florida and here?
Well, the wildest experience was last night in Seattle. The crowd simply went wild. How they managed to get outside of the Coliseum and to the limousines so fast is what's unbelievable. They completely went ape over the car. They tore the aerials off, smashed in the roof, tore the lights off. One man was trying to get through with his motorcycle, and they tore the aerials off his motorcycle. And motorcycles, clubs, nothing stopped them. They had to get at that car, and at one time they even opened the door to the car.
You might tell us this, since you sat in on previous press conferences. What might we expect here at this rather heated press conference already? The temperature in here must be about 90 degrees.
Well, it's usually a very relaxed atmosphere. They're quite comical, they're very sharp, and most of their answers are very witty and very humorous. They come back very quick. They enjoy them, I think, but it's not very long. They're only about 17 minutes altogether.
That'll do just enough. That's plenty warm in here, but we'll be covering a lot more out here tonight. And by the way, thanks a million. We're still backstage here at the press conference in room 19, and this, of course, is at Empire Stadium. With me on the right is a man that seems to know a little about the Beatles, and it's my suspicion that he might even be a part of the group. I'll be very embarrassed if he's with a rival radio station in town, but that's the gamble you take when you poke a microphone in a person's face and say, "Hi, I'm Jack Cullen, and you're..."
Larry Kane. I'm one of 3 broadcast newsmen from the United States who are traveling with the Beatles on their 30-day tour.
What have some of these press conferences dug up that you didn't know before about the Beatles?
Well, actually, we'll learn more from just being around them and seeing the shows than from the press conferences. Their shows themselves show that they are very electrifying in person, that their songs, just as they are on record, are the same in person. I mean, there's no basic sound difference. And we've learned another thing, that as the show builds up, crowd hysteria grows. Very interesting to watch.
By the way, speaking of the show itself, the Beatles will probably be on stage about 9 o'clock, and indeed, for how long would they actually be performing themselves?
About 40 minutes? 30 minutes.
30 minutes. What have they surrounded themselves with in the way of assistance for the show itself?
They have an equipment manager and a road manager, as far as putting... are you talking about other acts?
Talent, right.
Well, they have the Exciters. They have the Reichers brothers. They're from the West Coast. Jackie DeShannon. And who else? And the Bill Black Combo. Bill Black Combo.
And an excellent combo at that. So there is some of the color backstage here, room 19 at Empire Stadium. And when things start to pop here, we'll report right back with you. Norm, back to you.
Find out if anything new has transpired since our last communication with Jack Cullen. Let's go to Empire Stadium now.
Well, the fever mounts here, the excitement of the Beatles, and they still have not yet made a showing. And meantime, I think that you would agree that the temperature here must be all of 80 or 90 degrees. Orm Turner's over here from the Vancouver province, and Orm has spread a lot of rumors about the Beatles, some of them true, some of them false. What do you hear?
Well, I'm surprised that so many of them were accurate.
Yeah, such as?
Well, such as the fact that they were going to be arriving later than they expected, such as the fact they were going to be arriving at the RCAF depot instead of the main airport, and the fact that they would not be staying at the Hotel Georgia.
That looks like that's going to be borne out. I don't think they will either.
I think you're right.
What do you think, from here directly back to Seattle?
I think so.
Good crowd here?
I would think it's going to be an extremely good crowd. I know my wife gave my daughter a tranquilizer before bringing her.
Why didn't you bring me one? Fan both of us while you're at it, will you? Our friend here is busy fanning himself with a magazine, and that's an indication to you of how warm it is out here tonight at the press conference where we still await the Beatles.
It's just 20 minutes until 8 o'clock. Let's get back out to Empire Stadium and get another version of the activity out there. Come in, whoever you are.
Radio station in Vancouver is represented here. Some will be carrying the broadcast live, as we will. I notice particularly I'm amazed to find Vancouver's good music station, CHQM, is represented here, and this may be an indication they will be changing their musical policy in the near future. At any rate, Rini Castellani is here. Jack Webster's had very little to say tonight. I was just mentioning that QM is represented here, and perhaps they'll be changing their musical format
That's
soon.
a piece of arrant snobbery. Do you know why they're here? So that one of the juvenile delinquent salesmen can be present officially.
Now, you mustn't be nasty about it. But what are you doing here tonight, Mr. Webster? Are you a Beatle fan?
No, I'm in here in case there's a riot and 10 people might be trampled. You never know. I'm purely here as a sensationalist newsman in case there's mass hysteria.
I'm glad to see you brought your prayer mat with you. Webster will report along with us from room 19 at Empire Stadium, where we still await the Beatles.
I talked to him. I said, here, Ringo, would you like to say something? And
he said, I have nothing to declare. So he was talking to the customs man, wasn't he?
yes, but then I tried to get him on the air, but I had some technical difficulties, and I wasn't able to put him on the air. Do you know that, Norm, that all four of them, you stand them on their heads, you know, stand them up one on top of each other. You and I, standing on top of each other, would be taller than them. They all walked underneath my elbows. They're not very big.
Well, they came from Liverpool, you know, and things were kind of tough. They were a little short on chow in Liverpool, so they didn't grow them too tall.
I thought that was a feature of coal mines, but they aren't very big at all. They're skinny little guys. They can't weigh 130 pounds.
A piece? Is that a fact?
No, it's corporate weight. No, they are small little guys, and they look friendly, quite shy little fellas, actually.
Yeah. Is that real hair?
It is. Yeah, one of them
That's
needed
their
a
own.
shave, yes. I
there?
didn't know which one that was. I don't know one. All I know is Ringo. He's the ugly one.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
No, I'll.
You probably have been closer to the Beatles than a lot of people in Vancouver will be for the next while. Do you have any other impressions of the Beatles? Did they look tired, for instance?
No, they didn't. They look like ordinary, everyday teenagers. They're a little shy and a little overwhelmed by it all. They're surrounded by all this, entourage that everybody has, managers and handlers and secretaries and pilots. But they just bustled right through customs, and they smiled for their fans, and they stopped, and they smiled at a few of the Air Force people's families were there, and they seemed like very nice people, but they aren't very big, For all that money and all that fame, that they aren't. The four of them about the same size, and... well, they wouldn't play basketball, that's all I can say.
No. Now, how many people would you estimate fans were out there at the RCAF station, or at least as close as they could get?
Oh, well, starting down at the Morey Channel Bridge, which
opened?
I'd been joking about that for weeks, but I had nothing to do with it. And there were lots of fans there. I'd say there were maybe 400 there. And then as we got into Richmond, there were another, maybe 400 there, and then Oak Street looked like the PNE parade was going to come up, but there were that many people, and then they pulled that funny in the middle of Oak Street. They whipped over to Granville and took off from me with the Vancouver Police escort, and they were going like crazy. They were really moving when they got the Vancouver Police escort and roared across the bridge.
This is across the
Oak Street Bridge, onto Oak Street, and then they whipped down Granville, and from there on I lost them. I'd have got tickets galore.
We had a call from a listener downtown. She lived on Chilco Street, and she said, the Beatles have just passed my house, and she says they're heading up toward Georgia. So I thought, well, they've probably gone to the hotel. And then another listener phoned and said, no, Norm, they've just skedaddled through town and gone across the Lions Gate over the North Shore, and were expected to come in on the second Narrows to Empire Stadium.
So maybe they went to a hotel over there. I don't think they were in there. They weren't in their costumes they're going to perform in, definitely not. But
the screaming, we had a report from Empire Stadium outside with Jack Cullen, and there were a lot of kids screaming. Apparently someone did arrive, but it could have been any of the entourage of musicians and performers with the Beatles.
No,
because they're not there yet.
Well, yes, they are.
Oh,
at least police motorcycles and two of the cars that were in the cavalcade, I saw them coming out of the Empire Stadium that was screaming about them. So obviously some of their parties there, if not the Beatles themselves.
That's exactly it. They've done a clever thing. They've ditched somewhere, and
They're in a black Cadillac.
the pack has been following the entourage, and the Beatles have skipped somewhere. Did you see the movie A Hard Day's Night?
Not
because
yet.
they do clever things, you know. They'll get in one car, in one door, and right out the other side and get into a car that's parked across the street. And everybody follows the car that they got into, but no one sees them get out, you see.
Well, I don't think they did this. There's still one black limousine unaccounted for, a big long one with 4 little guys in it.
If you have seen a long black limousine with 4 little guys in it that weigh about 130 pounds each, report to Bruce Hood immediately.
Right, yes.
Okay.
From what I understand, the Beatles will be here in just about 6 minutes. Meantime, I've just learned one thing, that regardless of all the money the Beatles make, do you know what they had for dinner tonight?
Well, no, he knows what they had for dinner tonight.
I know, too.
With me now. What's your name, son?
Fulton Mackey.
Fulton Mackey.
Yes.
And are you an official here?
Yes.
Official of what?
I'm an errand boy for Ed
Moyer.
Yeah.
Have you been doing some errands tonight for the Beatles?
Yes.
What'd you do?
I ran and got salted Ringo's hamburger.
No kidding. Eh?
And not only that, I believe 19-cent hamburgers. They got them from King's. Now, with the money they make, I think at least they would have a steak.
Were they all having hamburgers, Fulton?
Yes, they all have hamburgers and milkshakes.
And tell me, did they eat with both hands or just one hand?
Both hands.
Both
They're
hands.
pretty to say with their feet. No. At any rate, we'll find that out in
Did
just
they
a few
take
minutes.
lots of salt?
Yes.
Did you get their autographs?
Well, no, only one used salt. That was Ringo.
Just the one. How did you get the drag to get down there, though? Where did you get all this drag? We've been waiting here for an hour for him. 99 reporters sweating to death in the black hole of Calcutta.
Jack, I didn't know that we had this many reporters in Vancouver. I feel there must be a lot of fringe types here.
The name of Fulton what?
Mackey.
Fulton Mackey will go down in history tonight as the first man in Vancouver to salt a hamburger for Ringo.
Indeed it would.
Thanks very much, Fulton.
Okay, thank you, bye.
And thank you, Jack. We'll be back in a few minutes now. The conference is just about ready to roll. Were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say, I just put that Beetleburger sign up there because last night at the conference, Paul was asked if there was any truth in this Beetleburgers, and he didn't know, so now he'll know.
That's from the Hotel Georgia. The Georgia presents the Beetleburger, 95 cents, in honor of the Beatles' first appearance in Vancouver on Saturday, August the 22nd. I suspect that it's going to be a very brief appearance in Vancouver.
That was very funny, wasn't it?
The kid was cute.
Yeah. Cute kid. I hope he didn't think we were making a fool of him, because we weren't.
No, of course not.
He's really
I
impressed.
think we're just making fools of ourselves tonight, but that's another story.
In Empire Stadium, come in.
Organization.
Well, very sorry. The plane was late. They wouldn't let him into Canada.
Why?
Because of the hair. Somebody had to be deloused before we came.
All right.
Well, it's a thought, Paul. It's a thought,
The
John.
Hotel Georgia would like to know, are you staying at the Hotel Georgia tonight, or are you carrying on to Seattle?
We're flying to somewhere. Where are we going?
Where do you go? Where do you go
Los Angeles.
tonight?
Yes, L.A. or something.
You're flying out tonight?
Yes, sir.
May we have your suites for a party?
Certainly.
Right. Okay.
Why should pay for them?
No.
Yes, you can have it as far as I'm concerned. I can take it home. What? The suite will stay. How you doing?
What held you up on the way in here? Why wouldn't they let you into Canada?
Because the pilot didn't have a little stamp on his bit of paper.
We got here.
There's one little thing
had to go back.
Not happened while you were in the air over
We were
Vancouver?
almost here, and he turned around, went back, got a little thing stamped on his passport.
And we had
then-
more chicken sandwiches.
And then we came again, and then the police took us for a 40-minute tour of the city.
Because they weren't ready here.
something not ready, you know. Apart from that, we were on
Very
time.
good. Only we were starving, you know.
On a percentage basis these days, what are you taking out of America compared with Britain in earning power?
Money,
A half
sir.
or a third?
Money.
Money, I'm aware.
Definitely. No, we don't know how much, really.
You get more in America.
You won't believe us.
Oh.
I think we get more here because it's so far away from home.
The only reason...
There's a rumor you own the Bank of England, is that correct?
No, we just borrow it now, man.
What's your deal with...
John.
What?
Just getting it clear, John.
Oh,
John.
What is your deal with EMI, which of course is Capitol Records? Is it a long-term contract, and if so, how long?
No, I
it
think it
expires next year or something like
It
that.
expires any year now.
Will you remain with them?
Depends
Well,
what
who
they say.
knows?
Oh, you'll buy them?
What are your plans for movies?
We've got to do a new one in February. But we haven't made any plans for it as yet. We talked to the director.
No titles?
No, there's nothing.
No titles, no script, no actors. We'll make it in February.
Any marriage plans for anybody?
Me, John. De Gaulle.
Anybody we know?
Well, you going to ever be in any of your upcoming films?
See, joking. Why? You know.
Are you going to do any more solos, Ringo, on any future records?
I suppose so, you know.
That's awfully nice.
When are you going to retire, fellas?
About 10 minutes.
Not really, no.
Who's your
past
favorite?
interview, you once said that you didn't mind being in the spotlight 24 hours a day. Isn't there the odd time that you do enjoy doing comic things, even having it all to yourself?
Right.
When we're asleep.
When is that?
I don't know.
On next Thursday.
Are you going to immigrate to the States, fellas?
No.
No.
Because we like England.
Who are your favorite recording artists?
Little Richard's one.
Well, you're in trouble.
Marvin Gaye. Boy.
Horrible.
Mary Wells. The Exciters.
Jackie Shannon.
The Miracles.
Danny
When you
Taylor.
people were initially starting, did
Chuck
the Crickets
Jackson.
have any influence in your style at all?
When they were with Buddy Holly, yeah.
Marion Williams.
How about the name? Did that have any influence? The Crickets and the Beatles?
Can't remember, it could have. No, it's so long ago.
Youngest recorder in the room. Come on.
Only 45.
Unusual request you've ever had from a fan.
What's the one?
Most unusual request we've ever had from a
Well, I wouldn't like to say.
Come on, she's
Are you
only
fellas identified with either the mods or the rocks?
Well, the rockers think we're mods, and the mods think we're rockers. I think.
Do you enjoy beating off girls?
We don't do it, the police do it.
Right.
Do you feel safe riding in an airplane?
Not really, as safe as you can be in an aeroplane.
You going to write another book, John?
Well, yes.
When's it coming out?
I don't know, I don't seem to be able to. I don't know about that either.
Does every city look the same?
No, some have trees, some don't.
Other than the incident this afternoon, have you ever missed a performance at all because of something like this?
No, I don't think so.
How much wood than all of you collected since you hit the big time?
How much what?
How much money?
How much
How much money have you collected since
We
we
don't
started?
know, really.
Years when we can't.
Nobody believes us.
Who does your
so they keep-
bookkeeping?
We've got an accountant who sort of
Is
gets
he
the money.
trustworthy?
What do you pay your
Well, I hope
taxes?
so.
Every year.
You fellas get an allowance?
Yeah, just a wage, you know.
Not telling.
It's enough, you know.
John, you're the oldest and perhaps...
I'm not, he's the eldest.
I'm the eldest.
What are your plans for the next 10 years?
All right, what are your plans, son?
Speak up, please.
I haven't planned anything. I'll just keep going, you know. See what happens. It's more fun.
Ringo, are you engaged to Maureen Cox?
No.
Are you going to be?
No. Anything else?
Not even when you...
Do you think overexposure with movies and too many record releases perhaps could damage your career at all?
We don't release any more records than anybody else. It's just so
We've only made one movie.
They make everything we make into a single over here.
In fact,
We've made 3 albums.
Sorry.
Tell him. Sorry, Paul. Sorry. No, In England, we made 3 albums. And they got 7 out over here, or about 7.
So work that out for yourself.
See, they just make them
In
up.
fact,
Sneaky.
we've made less records than most people. So that we've only made, I think we've only ever made 7 singles.
7
And
singles.
it seems to me like thousands, you know.
Over here, we
Over
get
here.
one every day.
Yeah.
lucky.
Well, we only made 7, you know.
I notice none of you smoke. Do you have any drinking habits?
We do
Alcohol.
smoke.
You do?
What's this?
Ah, right.
Not peanuts, you know.
And we drink too.
How many of you
Coca-Cola.
The 3 of us.
Who was the boy that was the head of...
A fella called Pete Best.
Why did he quit?
A fella called Pete Best.
Why did he quit?
He
We threw him out.
was one of those things, you know.
How long was he
Recording manager said he was
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
just a bit over 30, yeah.
What's worse, facing the kids or a mob like this?
No, we enjoy it, you know. This even.
Has the press been unkind to you at any time, do you feel?
Sometimes.
Not the majority.
In which area?
Most. Well, I'll tell you,
Wins
a
like a variable.
American
Usually those silly
magazines.
magazines, you know,
Magazines.
try
You
to
know,
hire you off to
movie
people.
type magazines and secrets and the truth behind the rumors and all that.
Do you have
So
any
many of
secrets?
them. Pardon?
Do you have any secrets?
Yeah, but they're not the ones that get into the magazines anyway.
Do you feel responsible for making Britannia rule the airwaves?
Oh, you worked that one out, didn't you?
Were you aware of the bomb threats in Seattle? Were you
Bomb
aware of the
threats?
bomb threats in Seattle?
No,
I think we must get about a bomb threat a day, you know.
a bomb a day.
Just got to forget about it.
Well, speaking of bombs, have you ever bombed at any appearance?
Bombed, it means it's
you mean-
different.
yeah,
It
no.
means, when we say we went down a bomb,
Lay an
it
egg.
was good.
Bombed out.
I don't think so.
Not in recent years.
Not recently,
What's the
no.
best city you've ever played?
I don't
Natural
know.
knowledge.
It's impossible.
Difficult. Actually, one of the wildest audiences was, I think, Glasgow, Scotland.
Is there any other city that you would like to play
In Canada.
Or in the world.
Oh.
No, London.
With all the money you make, is it true you had 19-cent hamburgers from King's for dinner tonight?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We got them off.
That's what I mean, limit like
What do you say to the old folks that say you've set the taste of music back 20 years?
I think we are. He's only married. He's only married. No. We're moving too much anyway for his wife.
20 years.
I don't know. I've never heard that. Sounds peculiar to me. Okay, keep going.
Okay.
Who wants a cigarette?
No, I'll put me on.
Ringo, how often do you change rings?
Well, I've had these three on for 3 years, so
Have
not
you got any
very often.
tipped? I'll have a tipped one. Anyone got a tipped cigarette? Oh, it's okay. It's all right.
Only for about 5
See,
minutes.
making this money, it's still counting cigarettes.
About 10 that I'd wear anyway. I mean, there's hundreds of those. Well, not hundreds, but quite a lot
Well,
of
of
those.
course, you know, wouldn't
They're
you
all
be?
on holiday.
What have you done for it?
No, I don't know where
Well,
that
actually, my dad's having a better time than I am. He's got a
prefab each.
He's got a house, a racehorse. He's just been for a week in Athens. I wish I was him. Good time.
Running your...
time off do you get a year?
Well, we get good enough holidays when we get them.
3 or 4 weeks.
How can you enjoy them when I hear in Hawaii you had to leave after just a few days?
We weren't going to Hawaii, we were just passing
We
through.
only
you see.
stayed
there the night on the way to Tahiti.
Did you like it?
What, Hawaii?
Hawaii.
It was all right.
We were only
staying there the night on the way to Tahiti. Say it again, George. He's got it.
Roger.
Which is the radio station with 10 men on the job?
That's
Listen
the one
to
that
the radio.
you listen to. You should know.
CKNW.
CKNW, that's right here.
I'm quite sure.
Don't mention that word.
Any of the political parties in England try to sort of carry favour with you and use you for their own benefit?
No, they all give us a mention just in case. We had our pictures taken with Bessie Braddock and Harold Wilson now.
Yeah, but we don't know enough about politics to support one or the other, you know.
You're all Tories, is that correct?
We're nothing. We're
Not really.
Whoever gives us the most money, yeah. Vote for them.
Do you date any of your teenage fans?
Yeah, whenever we get the chance, but you don't often get the chance to. But we do, you know.
You won't hear this.
Pardon?
You won't be able to hear in Vancouver.
I doubt it, no. Have to be pretty quick if we did.
What do you do with all this stuff that gets sent to the rooms?
All these letters on the room, yeah.
We try and keep as much of it as we can, but we can't always keep it. So, like a thing like a big cake, we send to a hospital or something, you know, because we can't carry cakes around. Excuse me, carry cakes around with us, you know.
What are you going to do with hoop pick?
How about that big hoop pick?
What a
Hoop pick.
Haven't seen it.
It's down at the hotel.
Yeah?
In your room.